Hi, good evening. This is Scott at Scott Trades on Twitter with StockMarketMentor.com and your chart of the day. Want to take a look at the KRE Regional Banking ETF for a little chart study. Yesterday, myself and Dan Fitzpatrick from StockMarketMentor.com were in a live webinar mentoring members of our premium website. And someone asked about KRE and asked if this was the time to buy. And this was yesterday, and I'll bring the chart back to what it looked like yesterday, just like that. And someone's like, hey, what do you think? Does this look like it's time to buy? And my initial reaction was no. And the reason is because I see this pattern here as a bearish continuation pattern. I've seen this play out many, many times in the stock market. You can see how it has progressively lower highs, though there are some higher lows. And so you can see it's kind of pinching a bit here. And so what I said to the member in the webinar was, just zoom out. But this pattern here, Dan, looks like a potential wedge in a downtrend, and typically those can break lower. Those are continuation patterns, and so unless you see a break higher here, I think it's status quo.
No, this is dead money right now. You don't want to try to trade this bottom. This is a chart that I would look at and say, okay, well, the regional banking issue is not over.
Let's zoom out to like the last year. What is the overall trend of this stock objectively? You can say, oh, well, yeah, you had opportunity here, you had opportunity there. That's fine. But just generally, what's the overall trend? Overall trend is down. And we can tell that because since January of 2022, this chart has been printing progressively lower highs. So this is our high, lower high, lower high, lower high, and eventually we get a breakdown and then some consolidation. Now, this consolidation after a big breakdown is actually not a bullish pattern unless it can make a higher high out of this consolidation. And so buying right here within consolidation, in my opinion, is a bit risky. You are front running the move. You're guessing. The market isn't telling you that it's ready to go higher. You just think it's ready to go higher. And sometimes you can totally be right and make money. But the way I trade is just to really put the probabilities in my favor. And so I like to wait for confirmation of a move higher. And so I said, now, this looks like a bearish continuation pattern. We actually ended up getting that confirmed today with this move lower. And so this, again, is just the trend continuing its current trend. It's in motion, and it's following through to the downside. Now, of course, I don't know what's going to happen with the banking sector. I don't know if anyone does. This could easily reverse and go to the moon, and that's fine. But if you see this pattern again in any stock, just remember it because, again, this tightening pattern is a bearish continuation pattern if it confirms to the downside. Now, if it confirms to the upside, then, that is, in my opinion, totally tradable. And we saw that here on BITO, which is the ProShares Bitcoin Strategy ETF. We saw that over here in June and July. Very similar. And here's what I love about charts, the fact that these patterns play out over and over, and it's just up to you to recognize them. And so, again, here's a very similar pattern in a clear downtrend, right? This has been going down all year, lower high, lower high, lower high. Yes, there's short-term bounce opportunities, but the overall trend is down. And then over here in this consolidation, we have another little triangle pattern where we have some lower highs and, yes, slight higher lows. So you can see how, again, it's kind of pinching. It's consolidating a little bit. But what happens out of this pattern is it breaks higher. It makes a higher high. And then you get a little follow through to the upside. Now, ultimately, this does break down, and that's fine. But at least it gave you some confirmation of higher prices before front running the move. Now, of course, you're not going to make all of that money because you're not buying down here. You're not buying the bottom. You're buying the confirmation. So you're not going to make as much money. But in my opinion, what you are paying for is a little more sleep at night because you don't know in a choppy, uncertain market like Bitcoin was around July and August, you don't know where this is going to go. And even if this does break down like it did here and you hold through, well, at least you're getting out with just a tiny loss and not a major loss like you would if you held something like KRE, I'm going to fast forward here, and woke up to a gap down and a flush. And so, again, just want to bring your attention to this pattern here. It's very subtle, but you're going to see this play out over and over and over on trends that are already down. And you're going to think, oh, here we go, it's the bottom. But wait, what if it isn't? So I hope that video is helpful, just giving you a sense of what I look for in terms of bullish continuation patterns in the likes of a downtrend and bearish continuation patterns in the likes of a downtrend. So if you found this helpful, then you should definitely check out what we're up to over at stockmarketmentor.com. You can take a 30-day trial for only $7. My name is Scott McGregor, at Scott Trades on Twitter. I'll see you next time.